My goodness, this is such a powerful film, Sheridan. You did such an exceptional job with the cinematography, the traveling, every little thing is just exceptional. Is there something about this film in particular that really is a favorite for yours? One that really truly made it a passion project for you, Sheridan?
I mean, everything about this film made it a passion project for me, and um, yeah, I mean, it's a deeply personal film. It was inspired by a friend of mine when I was 24 who died by suicide, and you know, he had been kind of perpetually struggling with his mental health since he was 15. He died at 34, and it really I had never experienced that in my life. I had never been around someone who had struggled with that their whole lives. And in a lot of ways, he had a very clear-headed, kind of unemotional feeling about his mental health, which wasn't what I had seen in movies and TV, which is usually this drastic, responsive thing where it's like, oh, my wife divorces me, so now I'm gonna kill myself or something. And I just never seen that in film and television. So I wanted to try to write a film that just sort of honestly captured. I wouldn't even say captured. I wrote it from a place of curiosity. Of I just wanted to create a proxy situation where I could kind of sit in a car and try to talk to him and understand what he was going through, and kind of posthumously. And then I had this vision of these two brothers on a road trip, and just it felt like the perfect kind of vehicle, no pun intended, to kind of explore that. So that's kind of, my favorite thing about it, I would say, is just that hopefully it resonates, and is truthful in that way.
Danielle and Philip, you are just exceptional in this movie. So realistic, so palpable, the relationship the two of you have. Daniel, did the two of you spend much time together to build that on-screen bond, or did you have this innate chemistry?
No, honestly, it was more innate. Like we had
Mm.
like a brief like week or so to kind of get connected and talk things through, but a week's so small in terms of trying to like figure out an entire lifetime with somebody. So no, I was really lucky with this whole situation and the connection that we had. And again, we had a little brief bit of chemistry reading ahead of time, so we were pretty aware ahead of time that at least on screen there was enough connection both between the art and us that there was certain things that were going to work, and throughout the whole process was grateful that that continued and blossomed and grew as we went along.
Philip, the struggles that Pete have is just very realistic and very current. I'm sure there's a lot of source material and a lot of stories, maybe even friends that have shared with you that sort of influenced the character you portrayed. Did that play a role at all, or did you just bring him to life on your own based on maybe some personal experiences you've had?
Um, well, I guess it's even just current right now because people are talking about it more. But I feel like this is just like the human struggle. Um, I said this before in other interviews and stuff, but I think that just my own version of the human experience has gave me some information in playing this role. Stuff that I've navigated through, stuff that I've seen my friends and family navigate through. I feel like Sheridan wrote such an honest story from multiple sides, from someone who struggles and a family member who is trying to learn how to handle that. And I think that he did a good job at not telling the audience like what is right or wrong. Everyone's trying to do their best. And I don't know. I think it's been important to me in my career I've gotten a chance a few times to kind of navigate through mental health in as honest a way as I could. And I liked also that Pete, which feels very realistic, wasn't just the guy that was he's depressed and he's dealing with like a lot of stuff, but also he likes to have fun and he likes to kind of like um be the life of the party, kind of deflect in a way that it wasn't the movie's funny. Um it's not just this like stereotypical suicidal depressed type of person that anyone could be going through a struggle, it doesn't just because they front the happy, they might be struggling. We're all kind of going through it. So I don't really know. It's like just kind of trusting Sheridan and Dan and kind of opening my heart and yeah, and just going for it.
Sheridan the Road plays this car even plays a certain role in this as well, maybe an additional character to it as well. How difficult was for you to shoot those scenes where they are driving and you're passing by these beautiful scenery?
Um, I set out to write something what I hoped would be like achievable as a first feature because this is my debut film, and then I realized quickly that putting them on the road was going to be an extra dynamic. But it's just a credit to my producers that I was very adamant that we took the trip and that we didn't really um we cheated as little as possible because I feel like oftentimes I see road movies and they might span 800 miles, and you're watching the film and you're like the landscape is the same everywhere, and they clearly just had this little road blocked off for this little part. um I think it was a challenge, but honestly, for me, it was an inspiration. I had done a short film before this film, and it was two people in one living room over one night, and I had all the control in the world. And so coming into this film, I wanted to write a film where I was going to relinquish all that control. So knowing that we had to go on the road and I was going to be at the mercy of the locations we were going to find out there, and like I think the best movies feel alive. And so if we're on the road and we don't know what's going to happen and we're in a new environment and the crew and the cast are reacting to that, hopefully the audience feels that way. And I love road trips. It's just one of my favorite things to do. I would much rather get in a car and drive somewhere than like fly on a plane and just listen to music and talk to people. So it was a blast actually. It wasn't really a challenge. It was so fun to get on the road and do this trip with these guys.
Daniel, both you and Philip have emotional, very difficult scenes to film throughout this. How did the two of you decompress after a long day of putting yourself through that?
That's a good question. Um, I, I, I don't, I didn't, to be honest. Like, I don't know how. When I'm in a kind of filming, it's generally okay. We go and then we shoot for the whole day, and then I sleep. And so by the time we were finished, then finally I had a few weeks where I could kind of take a break and try to sort through everything and process everything. But journey is just it's just exhausting, like mentally, emotionally, it just is, and it's not a complaint. It's just that's the experience, and so it's this beautiful thing of relying on everybody around you to keep you afloat, to make sure that you're okay throughout, that the process is okay throughout, and that you're able to take care of one another and make sure everybody's kind of still on the same direction and it has everything that they need to be able to do the performance, but also create this thing together. But yeah, very, very little kind of like being able to relax and just enjoy the process besides the filming and the work.
Philip, every scene between the two brothers is just captivating. Is there a scene that you're most proud of the work you put into or how it even came out on camera?
Um, I don't know. I'm proud of the both of us for vulnerably just kind of like committing as hard as we can and trusting each other. And I think some of the best things happen where it's not even me trying to like get perform or give a performance. It's me just like honestly responding to Dan. Um and I'm proud, it's like Dan said, I think it's a marathon. And it's really hard. And to sustain when it's mostly us for most of the shoot, it's at least like 12 hours a day, every day. And you have to, and th this movie requires you can't really like half-ass this type of thing. I think in order for it to work, it was written with such truth and emotional vulnerability that the only way that it works, and to honor it, is to commit as hard as you possibly can, which is hard. I don't know. I think that people have mentioned it or one of the other interviews, but I guess like there's a moment when I talk about with such a beautiful line of Sheridan, but feeling like a prison. What in your own body, Sheridan? What's the line? It's a
I feel like a tourist in my own
tourist
body.
in tourist in my own body. Um, it's such a beautiful scene, and also that was a cool moment for me when I've seen the movie. I'm just connecting with Dan so much where I'm like, I don't recognize the movements that I'm doing because I think I'm just kind of like flowing through the connection with Dan, and also just like the words that Sheridan wrote, and clearly tapping into something uh, personal to me. And so much about this movie too is just kind of like navigating those feelings, um, within yourself, and like what resonates, what feels truthful, and like kind of like getting to know yourself better throughout the experience.
Jordan, what do you hope lingers with people that watch Little Brother? Is it the bonds we have with our family are so important? Is it mental health is still such a prevalent thing in our society? Or is there another message you really hope lingers with people that watch this beautiful film?
You know, just because you mentioned it in the question, like the number one thing I didn't want to do was make a message movie. And when I feel like that happens is when the filmmaker's voice is coming through and you're feeling like this is what the screenwriter is trying to say. And what I had happened to me, I didn't even really mean it to happen. But when I write a script, I really like to hopefully imagine these real people, and then they just take it away. And specifically with a film like this, you know, I had the ending set out, but I did not know what was going to happen really in the middle. So writing the script was like, okay, Jake and Peter in a car, where are they going to take me? What are they going to say? And when I finished the script, I just realized the movie is so much about um, family dynamics, and it's almost more about family and groups and relationships than it is even about mental health in a way. And so I really, yeah, I just hope that people connect with it and feel it. My favorite movies, um, it's they linger with me not because of a big set piece, not because of even like great writing or great lighting. It's like a deeply resonant scene. So I wanted to try to write a film that would conjure up opportunities like that for audiences to deeply connect to it and for it to kind of, there are films that I think of 15, 20 years later that I still, in this kind of crystallized way, know what it made me feel and where I was when that happened. So I just hope that they feel it and experience it and laugh and cry and, just are moved by it.